Hello, welcome to the artclasses.com. This is part 3 of drawing face and drawing head tutorial. In this one, the final installment, we're going to talk about the plane on face. So basically, we're going to simplify how many plane on the face, like right here, and then make it a little more complex, and then eventually I'll explain how to break down and make it simple, and then refining it, where to add light and shadow, and how to apply it onto your portrait drawing and analyze the structure of the portrait that you are going to draw. Alright, let's get started. So I'm just going to start by drawing a basic face here. I usually start out with a circle, and then as before, as you saw in part 1, I usually get a jawline. And this one is going to be a 3/4 view. So as you can see, those two lines vertically, those are the front plane of the faces. The face, sorry. And now I'm getting around to the back of the skull and neck. So I usually try to imagine the front part of the face as one plane. So as you turning left and right, you can imagine the plane going around, because the light will hit the simplified plane, and then from your from your nose, on top of your nose, I'm drawing right here, and then the side of your nose will be a different plane. So just imagine as you're carving a box and having all your head in 3-dimensional, and imagine how many basic planes that will have on your head alone. So you have the eye socket as a plane that's facing down, like the part that below your eyebrows, and the facing down of the bottom of your nose, and on the right of your right when your cheekbone fall off after your front of the face, then that will be another plane of the side of your face, and your upper lips will face down to the bottom, down to the ground. That's what it usually does, a little bit angled, and then the bottom, your lower lips also facing down to the bottom. So that's a basic plane on your face, and this will become really useful once you apply it to when you draw face and trying to analyze and measure what kind of portrait you want to draw. And now I'm just going to draw the side view of the face. And basically the same thing, but it's a lot easier to see, because from the side view you can see the change of plane abrupt, like the bottom of the nose, as you can see, is facing down, and the bottom of the lip, it's a little angled. But I'm just going to simplify it so it will have a similar shadow. And then the same as the side view. So there you go, that's the side. And we're gonna use this, and I'm gonna explain to you how to apply this onto your drawing, because there's a maquette, what you call, it's kind of sculpture for artists to use this kind of thing, but this is a simplified version of whatever the face will be, like when you in the beginning of sculpting stage. And from this plane I drew earlier, the one that facing the same direction will have the same value, like what I'm gonna assign here. The one that had the same face value is just gonna assign number 1. That's 1 1 1 1 1. So this whole sort of almost white is value 1. And you can just see this line over here that, oops, sorry, this line that's separate over here, 1 and 1. And this is 2 2 2 2 2, same as here, 2 2 2 2 and 2. So that's in general, and side, just give it 3. So it's just when you separate the value in general, those number are the one that have the pretty similar in value. Might not be exactly the same, but they're pretty close. If you generalize trying to break down into just the three values, so this would be the three value that's this plane assigns to. And from the simple planes that I explained earlier, and combination with this drawing that I have in the different direction of the face from part 1 and part 2. So if you want to assign a plane to this drawing, then I'm just going to draw a simplified geometry shape around this face and paint over it to demonstrate how those planes apply to the real life situation when you're trying to paint a portrait. So I'm just breaking it down. So now it looks like a maquette or a mannequin sculpture drawing. So I'm applying the same value onto the same plane. Eye socket, bottom of the nose, top of the lips, the bottom lips, and then I'll assign the lighter value on the front plane, which is the top of your nose bridge, forehead, and your cheeks, and basically the front plane of your face right there. And the side, I'm just gonna add a little value to that side of your nose and the side of your face. And I'm just gonna, so this I start off with just 3 value, right? And then it looked pretty geometric, and now I'm trying to break down more planes. So at the bottom of your eyelid I add a little more shadow on it, so it got one more little plane down there. And around the nose I try to add a little more gradient around it. And the eyes that facing front, I add a little lighter value on the eyeball. And when your face is tapered down at the bottom, it's received a little shadow, so I add a little shadow on the side of the face, so it got received more shadow. So the shadow will be in between the bottom of the nose, or the eye socket shadow, and halfway in between, which is where this receive the light. So you just kind of break down the geometry into smaller pieces. And nose bridge, I broke that down like on top of your nose bridge, right between your eyebrows. It has a little, most of us have a little dent, so I add a shadow there. And also if I break the hard edge between the front plane and the side plane and have one little plane in between, and that would create that shadow on the forehead right there. And so that's on the side of the face. I'm going to try to smooth it out. So the value of this middle in between that front face and side of face will blend them together. And so now we see the application of how to combine those planes. And now I'm going to do the side view of the face. Same thing. I just simplify and assign those planes all together. And just start off with 3 value on the side. And if you want to go into the detail, you can go on the side face in detail. And if you're looking up, this is some people told me that the video I make on the second part is too easy for them, and that's good, I guess. But it gets harder when you're trying to apply the planes and try to make the face look realistic. And now you applying the plane onto the face, same thing. I still keep basically the same value because it's facing up, it doesn't change much. If it's facing down, you might want to change the value of the shadow and light a little bit more. So I'm just going to do the facing up. So I apply the same, plane. Nose bridge, apply a little bit more shadow there, so it get a little more shape. And the cheeks, and there, So you just basically, if you just apply this basic value, you're already halfway there to render the face. And just add more there, so we define the cheekbone more. And then once you clear that out, you find hard edge, soft edge, then you get all this value around it. So it would be good if you get some maquette for yourself, or get some reference of maquette. But to get a maquette for yourself is easier because you can assign the light and you can practice your value at home. I think you can get cheap one nowadays. Some of them are really expensive. It depends on what kind of material you get. Alright, let's move on to the final part. Alright, so now we know why these planes are important, and let's go back to the basic, because when you're trying to do a portrait and make something out of it, you want to go to the basics. So basic, how deep is the nose, or upper lip or lower lip, because it's plane that are facing down. That's what I notice first before I do draw or paint portrait, either live or from reference. So here are a bunch of them, like this guy, portrait that I did a while back. It's fun. He has a pretty deep eye socket, so that's what you notice first. What I usually notice first, so I just measure. That's what you basically measure first, and that's go pretty deep, and that's go the nose. And when you know the plane, if the plane's gonna go deep in there, up on the side or whatever that might be, then that's what you have to decide and notice, and what kind of change of plane they have on the side. So notice that sort of thing, and that will make your job simpler. I don't know why my pen doesn't go. It's going a lot slower. Maybe I record a lot of video in a recent day. Anyway, so yeah, so that's a deep eye socket, and some of them, this Liam Neeson also have a pretty deep eye socket, but I think this dude has a deeper eye socket. And then you run into some, like most women have shallower eye socket. She has a little bit of change of plane that's kind of a little shallower than he does, but she still has some, and her nose is kind of going in deep also, and then you might go there. So you kind of have to notice the change of plane, and then this will go on the side. That might be a change of plane also, 1 and 2, but we want to keep that simple first, so we're just gonna make the side just be the side plane, and then the front be the front, and then we'll break that. I will break that apart later after I have the bigger plane going on, similar to this. And then a lot of or most Asian feature have a shallower eye socket. Has not a lot of shadow going in, but there's some just slightly a little bit plane. But the plane, instead of going like this, say looking from the profile, the nose, her feature would go a little more shallow, and instead of going straight out, it's gonna go up, and that's the nose. And just notice change of planes, and then you look at the feature or facial feature a lot different than before. And same as here, you probably have a shallower eye socket, and the nose probably a little shallower also. And her lips, same thing, facing. Just notice the change in shadow. And her also have a shallower eye socket, but her nose has probably a deeper go. So the nose bridge is somewhat higher, but it's the eye socket ceilings shallower than most men, or in some Western women. Anyways, yeah, so pretty much that's what you can make a good use of. the change of plane in the face, and that's when you look at the reference, you can make a judgment and calculation a lot easier, and distinguish. Now you can distinguish a shadow a lot easier. Like over here, the same shadow would be, say, underneath the lower lips, and because it's a lot of same change. It's like this also. If you want to divide this in half of the face, like you could probably break it into the more change of plane from that plane to that plane and to that plane. So that plane receive more light, and then the other plane that will go around, and the other plane will go darker. And once you have the side plane, and then you can have the top planes going down, this probably will be similar to this, but then you have to differentiate between left and right. Alright, so that's explain the change of plane. And one more thing. When you're designing a facial feature, those will come into helps. Like if you want this guy to be like have a pretty deep and heavy eye socket, let me choose a lighter color. Then this guy will have a pretty deep eye socket, and then high nose bridge. So it's come in handy. And this guy have a little shallower eye socket, and then it's going up and things. So those, and this guy has like a kind of big wider nose, like a warrior type, and his eye socket is kind of in between, in the middle sort of thing. So it goes, and it's kind of help you say if you do one portrait and you start from one, you keep tweaking the portrait and just changing your face a little bit by lower the nose, and then you can change it into another person entirely, and then maybe raise the cheekbone a little bit, or raise the thicken the lips, and making change of plane and size and things like that become pretty useful. Alright, I guess this is the end of the tutorial here. Hope you learned something from it. Have a great day, and check out more tutorial on my channel. Bye bye.